We used to have a bread truck and Charlie chip truck.
That was pretty cool.
Well, I think we're gonna proceed. Or do you want to hold off until?
Just 1 minute.
1 minute.
All right. Okay.
That way we don't violate the Open Meetings Act inadvertently.
We wouldn't want that.
No. There's a pledge up there in case I didn't know it.
Yeah, you might be surprised.
Oh.
Oh, there you go. Perfect.
Hooray.
Great.
We're good also, Mr. President.
All right.
Hi, Mackenzie. Good, how are you?
Good, very good.
And Mackenzie.
Hey, sorry, I'm running a little bit behind, had to drop off the dog. Yeah.
All right. I'd like to call to order the special meeting of the Village of Middleville Council. May we please have a roll call?
Kevin Smith,
Here.
Steve Baldry,
Here.
Robert Bishop, John Osterbaum, Mackenzie Peters. Here.
All right, motion to approve the absence of Mr. Bishop.
I'll make that motion.
Second, or support, sorry.
All right, all those, any discussion? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, let's do the pledge. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, well, we have a pretty straightforward agenda. Motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Support.
Any discussion? All right, all those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries. Since we have no public comment, we're gonna move beyond that. Unless you have something to say before you.
All right, I'll go, if you like, I'll just go ahead and moderate and then you guys can ask follow-ups if that works. All right, so Susan, welcome. I'll do the moderate, I'll just ask the questions and then if you want to just address the council and then we can go from there and then if they have any follow-up, they can ask you if you want to, so.
Okay,
Why don't you tell us about yourself and why you want to serve on the village council?
okay. I've lived in the village since about 1991, 92. I had a business for a while, 4-Star Video. I knew you from there. And we closed that around 2000. I've been busy with grandchildren, stepdaughter, and my job. And I never participated in the village. So now I'm retired in 22. And my only job is taking care of my mother right now. And I'm getting brain rot. And so I read in the Sun and News that you were kind of in desperate straits. And it's kind of like, I sat here for so long without participating at all. Least I could do is volunteer. So I'm here.
Okay. What relevant community involvement or leadership experience best prepared you to serve on the council?
Yeah, that's a good question because I'm not a joiner. I do not belong to a church. And I'm not from the area. I grew up kind of split between Illinois and Ohio, and I have no family in the places that I grew up in. So I've kind of been, I don't know, free floating. I have not connected with my community, so I don't know that I can help you. I was mostly involved with work. I'm a workaholic, so.
Okay. In your mind, what would be the top 3 priorities for the village to focus on over the next year, year and a half?
Downtown development being certainly something to do. Just, it's hard. Retail businesses struggle to stay alive. It's a tough life, and so it's hard to keep it going, other than food is the only thing that seems to work. We've had a lot of growth in the neighboring area as well as in the village. So that always, you've got to focus on. Neighborhoods change, traffic patterns change, crime changes. So, let's see, the third thing, I suppose keeping up with the times, modernizing. I have a heck of a time keeping up with all the changes in the electronics and the phones, and I know people, you can exchange information by just holding your phone up to the next guy. I do not know how to do that. Probably my grandkids do, but I do not.
How would you involve the village residents in your decision-making process while representing them?
I think it's important to make sure that people do participate, and just posting things doesn't generally do it. You almost have to go out and get the participation. Remember when Catherine Getty was running for her position for drain commissioner, she went door to door. She saw everybody. That was pretty awesome. I know I've seen things on the minutes too, where people are saying about having records for all the business owners here. Oh my gosh, yes. And that would be so simple to do. Just go out and get the information. You have to have people willing to do it, I guess. And if I commit to something, I do it.
Okay. What do you see the village council's role versus the role of the staff or other boards or committees?
I consider it sort of an oversight. You trust the staff to do their duties well, but in all cases of public trust, there should be oversight, same as an audit of a business. Yeah, I mean, you're at almost every meeting. The village council has their meetings, the DDA, everything. You are working for all these meetings also. It's a big job that you have. And with people looking over your shoulder all the time. But that's the village's job, the commissioners.
Okay. How do you approach budget decisions when resources are limited? And how interesting is thorough budget review to you?
That's sort of what I did in my life. Budgeting was a big portion of my last job. I was a financial analyst for Mary Pre-Med Hospital, and trying to project the revenues is an interesting field in a business where it's the customer who tells you how much they're going to pay. Usually you say, I'm selling this is how much it is. In the world of healthcare, Medicare says, well, I'm going to pay you this. Medicaid says, I'll pay you this much. You cross everybody you have to negotiate with. And heaven help the poor person who is not insured, because they get the brunt of the bills and they can't pay them. So budgeting for that was always a lot of fun, but it worked.
If someone came to you with a proposal to build a new piece of public infrastructure, like a road, water tower, or well, or something of that nature, how would you evaluate whether that project was worth implementing or
there'd be, have to be statistics as to what the need is for it. Location should be sort of an obvious choice, and you know, we need to have it located where the need is. Those are things that have to be done, the same as you do in a household. So how would I approach that? You gotta do what you gotta do.
This role requires preparation time and evening meetings. What does your availability look like, and how will you prepare for meetings?
I assume I get the information ahead of time so that I can read it and make notes on it and know what to ask. I do like to ask questions, so hope that'll be okay.
Of course.
Availability for meetings, I'm retired now. My mother needs a lot of care, but I can leave the house. I'm not tied to her, so. And I think, okay, people should be here on the meetings, so.
Okay. Describe how you handle conflict, public criticism, or emotionally charged meetings. And how would you respond if you saw a negative comment about you on Facebook or another social media platform?
Oh, I think nobody enjoys that. It's no fun to look at that, see complaints constantly from people who, you wonder, have they ever done anything for anyone else in their time? It's a thankless job sometimes. You can't overreact either. Our world has kind of become full of flashback. You know, we gotta move past that.
Okay. If the village received $1 million grant to be used for anything the council chose, what would you propose the money be used for?
I don't know enough about the workings. Maybe it's needed for the water supply, or maybe, you know, it's needed for infrastructure, technology. What would I recommend? Until I knew more, I wouldn't have a recommendation.
How would you handle a situation when you're on the dissenting side of an item in front of the council? So you voted no and something passed.
Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. That's a democracy. Majority wins.
Okay. This appointment would expire in November of this year, 2026. If appointed, you would need to complete the steps to appear on ballot, run in November, and win to remain in office. Knowing this, does that affect your desire to be appointed?
Well, I've never run for anything before. I don't know how involved it is, I know there've been times where I come to vote and I really don't know the people that I'm voting for. So I have to depend on what I see in publications, what they've said about what they believe in, what they do. Certainly the posting of your meetings online is a really nice resource too for watching. Oh, and I do have a question. Does it post anywhere what people's attendances are?
No, but
Shouldn't that be?
but it's always, you know, people can ask, you know, anytime, you know. You talking about council type people?
Yeah, when people are voting for
people
different things, you know, because a lot of people will sign up for things but not necessarily follow through.
Mhm.
And when I'm voting, that's useful information for me to know,
Sure.
do I want to vote for this person?
Yeah, all that stuff is in the minutes of all of the meetings, who's in attendance and things like that.
Okay, but you'd have to look at each.
Yeah.
That was kind of an aside, sorry.
No, that's okay. Any follow-up questions from the council?
Did you hit the last one?
I did. Well, I'm gonna get the very last one after.
Just before, if we do have questions, they need to be in alignment with what we've done here, because we have to ask all the same questions to everyone, so
Okay.
that, hence my.
Yeah.
So, anything related to what we've asked specifically, if you want a follow-up question or whatever, you're welcome to do that.
Okay.
And I'll leave it open to the council to do that.
And then any of your notes are voidable also, be aware of that as well.
I was just gonna ask, we talked about how long were you with, Mary Free Bed, were you doing that?
I started there in 2007, so. When I retired, I was just short of my 15th, well, I hit my 15th year.
Okay.
I have a question. Oftentimes, especially, council members will be assigned to various committees and oftentimes asked to perform community events. For example, if we're renewing a rec plan, that may require extra time. So if appointed to a committee or a subsequent commission, what would be your commitment to time and
I could do
performing
that.
on that, okay, in the volunteering and things like that?
Yes. I'm not a social butterfly, but I'll survive.
Right. Well, you worked in healthcare, you know. So,
Any other questions from the council?
I got my list of questions I was gonna ask everybody. Craig's pretty well covered them. The question I have that really hasn't been answered to me is, how willing are you to take training to bring yourself up to the council requires that you have a certain amount of training, open meeting training, all that type of thing. If you go on a commission, you might have to have some training to go along with that. You got a little bit of a leg up, I think, with budget, type of thing. Just, if you have time to devote to that and take
Oh,
it.
I do. I enjoy that. I'm taking an AI class now.
The village pays it, but you have to put the time in to get it.
Sure.
And it can be either way. It can be, video or in person, type of thing.
Okay. I still spend a lot of time on my computer. Yeah, I love to learn.
That's good because there's a lot.
Already, I've learned you're no longer second.
Susan, thanks for your time today. We really appreciate it. It seems a little rapid fire, but I think you handled it well. And we're going to be coming to a decision, I think, by tomorrow. So,
Oh, my goodness. Okay.
yeah, we're gonna be burning the midnight oil review and just make sure that we pick the right people. But love your story. I think, to your point, this is a learning curve. Jumping into something like this can oftentimes be really overwhelming. I know I didn't know what I was doing until probably 2 years in. So, but as long as that's a good challenge for you to undergo and you have confidence in that, then we really appreciate you applying, and you'll certainly find out tomorrow.
Okay, sounds good.
Appreciate it.
Well, thank you for your time.
Thank you very much for coming.
You want me to ask the last one or?
Sure. Yeah.
Sorry,
One more.
Sorry, just in closing, I guess, tell us why you're the best person to represent the village and why they should choose to appoint you.
Well, I don't know that I am. Yeah, I'm not sure who else you're talking to. There might be someone who's really top of the line and, knows a lot more of the people in the village. So I'm not tooting my horn there. I mean, I knew a lot of people once upon a time when I had the video store. I saw half the village on a consistent basis, but that doesn't necessarily mean they liked me. So,
Okay.
but yeah,
All right,
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
thank you. Good luck.
thank you. You could almost have that as your follow.
Yeah, I could do that for sure. I think that would be great.
Yeah.
I think Mr. Hunter is here, or at least I think I saw somebody come in.
Is he? Double check.
If we can get ahead of the game, that would be great.
Yeah, all right. You want to help me, ready? Yeah, sure.
Have a seat. Ladies in the office described you as very tall, so I think.
Oh.
Yeah.
But I'm very short.
Yeah.
Hi.
You like Nick?
Yeah, that's fine.
Welcome. I'm Craig Stolzenberg. I'm the village manager, and I'll be moderating and asking questions, and then just address your answers to the council. And,
Okay.
And then we'll go from there. So,
Sounds good.
why don't you let us know who you are and tell us why you want to serve on the village council, a little bit about yourself.
Okay, my name is Nick Hunter. I've been in Middleville for about 9 years. I have 4 boys, and I've had a lot of jobs that have, leadership experience. I don't know, did you guys see my application?
Yeah, and they've received your application letter, and you've had a chance to review all that too.
Okay. And I want to apply because I just want to have my boys grow up in Middleville and just keep Middleville, great and good. And
Okay, good. So along those lines, what relevant community involvement or leadership experience best prepared you to serve on the council?
when I started at Meyer when I was like 14 as a baby bagger, and that's what they called us.
Baby bagger.
Yeah, I mean, that's when they had baggers, at each lane. I worked there for 17 years at one store, and I mean, I just kept on working through the ranks, and they saw potential in me, and they trained me as a leader. And by the time I finished, I was in charge of all grocery. Actually, I was in charge of frozen dairy they lost the person right before Thanksgiving. So they just said, Nick, this is your department. The day before Thanksgiving, which is a crazy day. And I'm like, here we go, let's do this. And then 2 weeks later, they said, your position has been eliminated. You're now in charge of all of grocery. And we just kind of grouped it all into one. So, and I ran grocery for a few years there. And then I decided to do construction, and I was very green in construction. Actually, my first job, he just made me dig a hole. And I'm like, well, can't we get a bobcat or something to dig this? He's like, no, it's a learning experience. And it was the hottest day of the year, but I worked for that one guy, and his business grew, and he just kind of put me in the leadership position of, a few jobs, kind of overseeing a few people, and it just kind of grew into that. COVID hit, and my wife, she was in charge of assisted living, and they needed a maintenance director at a facility, and I was kind of getting exhausted. I was tired of climbing like a 30-foot ladder, at 20 below zero, putting up siding on a house, so I kind of left and then went into assisted living and did that for years. I worked at one property as a maintenance person, and within 2-3 years, I was kind of overseeing all 13 properties, their maintenance departments. I was in charge of their OSHA, their fire marshal, making sure they passed inspections for assisted living, HFAs, and adult foster care. And then I did that for a few years. The company kind of split and got rid of all the Michigan properties, and I didn't want to go to Ohio. So I just said, okay, I'm done. And then I started working with my father, selling polyurethane equipment. And we represent a few companies out of Germany, Korea, China, and we just kind of import stuff, and then we kind of sell it to local companies in the United States, North America, pretty much, yeah. And so I've been doing that for the past few years, and when I first started, it was steady, but we're actually starting to grow now to the point where we need to get more employees, I guess. It's kind of getting too busy for just 2 people. So, yep. We're also like manufacturing here in the States just recently because the tariffs are very expensive. So, yeah.
In your mind, what would be the top 3 priorities for the village to focus on over the next 12 to 18 months?
Top 3 priorities. I think like engagement of the people. I've been here for 9 years, and I felt like it was like really busy before COVID, and then it kind of dwindled down a little bit for certain things. You know, I just want to create with the people more open, I guess, about the budget. I think, you know, people complain about Middleville sometimes, you know, with things, and you just talk to people and they complain about things. And I think like opening up the discussion a little bit better would be good. You know, I came to a couple meetings and like no one really shows up, you know. I think one time I was just by myself, and you know, I think it'd be good just to open that up to everybody. The third thing, yeah, just like I said, I think more engagement would be top priority.
Sure. How would you involve the village residents in your decision-making process while representing them?
I think social media, I think is pretty good. You know, with Facebook, everybody's on Facebook. I am not on Facebook, so I don't really like Facebook. I think, but it is a tool that people use. One idea you could have, like at these functions, you could have like a person, you know, a Middleville booth type thing where people could just come and talk and voice their complaints, stuff like that. But yeah.
Sure. What do you see the village council's role versus the role of the manager or other staff or boards and committees?
I feel, can you repeat the question?
What do you see as the village council's role compared to like the staff or the manager?
I think you guys break down the decisions like that come to here, and I think the staff, they actually just carry out the plan. Yeah.
How would you approach budget decisions when resources are limited? And how interesting is a thorough budget review to you?
Could you repeat that one more time?
Sure. How do you approach budget decisions when resources are limited, and how interesting is a thorough budget review to you?
If budgets are limited, you know, I feel like you just gotta cut out some stuff. And that's hard. Everybody in the village wants something, and you gotta be open with everybody, like, hey, we're kind of cutting costs down. But you do have to explain to them like what they're cutting and then the reason why. Sometimes things get cut and people get pretty mad about that. I've had to deal with that in assisted living. During COVID, some things, budgets did get cut just because it was a tight time, and you have to talk to the staff or the community members' kids, the adults. And that's hard sometimes, but you have to hear them out and then just discuss it. And yep. But going over budgets, I like going over budgets. It's kind of exciting because then you can see where all the money is going. And there are some people out there that really want to know like where that last penny is going. And so yeah,
Okay. If someone came to you with a proposal to build a new piece of public infrastructure, like road, water tower, well, something along those lines, how would you evaluate whether that project was worth implementing or not?
Long-term goals and, short-term, it's, I feel, you just have to weigh out the long-term goals because you want to build infrastructure for Middleville to last long enough. But, sometimes those short-term goals, it's just not worth it to have it right away or whatnot. So, but that would be like a group discussion, I feel like that. I don't think you could just place that on one person. So, but yeah.
Okay. This role requires a lot of preparation time and evening meetings. What does your availability look like, and how will you prepare for meetings?
I am self-employed, so I'm always available. Sometimes though I do go on business trips, but it's kind of like impromptu, like last minute, so I don't know, but I don't do those a lot. Most of the time I'm at my house or at work, which is just close to Middleville. So even in the middle of the day, I can leave. I've been pretty blessed that I can just go pick up my kids or drop them off if they're sick or whatnot. So open availability. So yeah.
Describe how you handle conflict, public criticism, or emotionally charged meetings. And also, how would you respond to a negative comment about you on Facebook or other social media platforms?
When I worked for Meyer, I would have conflict like all the time because customers are always right. Sometimes they're not always right, and you just kind of have to talk through it. In their mind, they're right, and then you have to like just work together to communicate. And if it is not like if it doesn't go in their way, you do have to explain like why and then kind of reason with them. There is a certain point where you just have to end the conversation. With negative feedback on Facebook, I'm not too worried about it. I have been called a lot of names over the years, and it doesn't bother me. I know that people, everybody's got a personality, everybody's got an opinion about everything, and if I worry about it, that's just wasting my time, and I just, okay, you can call me whatever, it doesn't really bother me. So, if they're blowing up my phone though, that's another thing too. Do you give out your phone number? Like,
You can if you want to.
okay,
You don't have to though.
okay. It's kind of like a work phone. I don't want to have to be dealing with like resident, stuff like that.
I get all those calls.
Oh, you do? Okay, yeah, then we'll just redirect it that way. But, criticism is okay,
If the village received $1 million to use for anything the council chose, what would you propose to use that money for?
Does it have to be spent or could it be saved?
It'd have to be spent.
Oh, it would have to be spent.
Question, I like that.
Yeah, I think, I'm a big saver. I like saving money. Just because you have money doesn't mean you have to spend it right away. But if you have to spend it, I think you might have to split it up, like infrastructure for Middleville, whatever needs to be repaired. I know that there's a few things that everything needs to be repaired after a while. So there's always something that needs to be fixed. However, you could take a small percent out of it and, hey, ask the, residents, we have an extra surplus this year. Is there something that we want to vote on, to have? But with that, I know if you vote on something, you can purchase it, but then it's kind of like every year you have to keep on putting money into it depending on what it is. So we would have to take a look at that as well. But, I think infrastructure and, activities as well, it's always.
How would you handle a situation when you're on the dissenting side of a item on council?
Like I said earlier, like, you're not always gonna get your way, but you do have to communicate, and you just have to discuss it. Maybe you can come to, like, a mutual ground where you get a little bit, but you give up some. And, you win some, you lose some, and it's not, it's, yeah.
If appointed, this appointment would expire November of this year, 2026. So you would need to complete steps in order to appear on the ballot, run in the November election, and when to remain in office. Knowing this, does that affect your desire to run?
No, I think, I've thought about it for the past few years of running, and, my neighbor and I, we always discuss, oh, we should run, and I'm like, you know what, I am doing it. And, so I just applied, and, I think if I am on the board, it just, I'll be more motivated to continue it on and follow all the rules and everything to get my name on the ballot. But yeah, I definitely would want to continue on.
And I'll turn over to council, see if they have any additional questions.
Got any other questions?
Do it up.
This does require some training.
Yeah.
Open meeting training, council training. If you're on a committee, maybe you'll go to planning commission or some ZBA committee or something like that. There'll be training that goes with that too. How much time would you have and be willing to devote to train?
If there is a class that I need to take, I'm willing to do that. I still occasionally take a class at CC. A few years ago, I just took a hydraulics class just to go into, my job that I have right now. So I'm always willing to learn. I feel that if you're not learning something, you're kind of becoming stagnant. So I would enjoy, a class or training or whatever.
As a council member, you may be appointed to one or many different committees or ad hoc committees. On top of our already existing 2-month meeting schedule, if not more, assigned, what is your availability for that? And what is your availability for volunteering in the community? Just because sometimes those committees require that, not necessarily require that, but they have a need for volunteers to do the data collection and do things. What's your availability for those two things?
Again, open availability. I already do volunteer work with my church. I don't mind setting aside time to go do those things. Like I said, self-employed, I kind of have open availability. If it's planned out enough time, then that's fine. Even if it's last minute, I can do those things, but again, I could be gone, so.
Well, first off, thank you for enduring this. This is,
Oh, no problem.
it's pretty, it can be intimidating for some folks. Obviously you handled yourself very well. I appreciate that. Just as a side note, I definitely recognize impromptu traveling for the first 4 years that that I was on the board. I traveled an enormous amount, but always tried to schedule around village council. Again, I have a very strong commitment to that, but understand that if that happens, obviously we can excuse you just obviously with notice. So I appreciate the travel thing.
Okay.
So it's not a make it or break it scenario.
Okay.
We recognize that life happens. last question, and just feel free to say whatever's on your mind, but just tell us why you would be the best person to represent the village and why we should choose you.
I feel that I'd be the best. I have just a lot of experience with like leadership roles over the years. I enjoy talking with people. You know, interviews are okay. I haven't done an interview in like, I want to say like 15 years, by the way. It's been a while. But I enjoy talking, communicating with people. I'm always, you know, talking to my neighbors. I feel like I have a good rapport with them. And I just want to see Middleville continue on being awesome. So, yeah.
Good. And that's it. So
Yeah.
thank you so much again for coming in, and
Okay.
unless you have any other additional questions for us, then.
You'll have an answer by tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and you will definitely find out tomorrow, by the way.
Oh, really?
Well,
So,
It'll be, if you watch the meeting, you'll find out tomorrow. Otherwise, I'll give you a call the next day.
Oh, really? Okay. What are some of the things that you guys are working on right now, like open discussion on the council that you guys have been working on recently?
I mean, I think a lot of it is in the vein of what you were saying. A lot of it is, I mean, we have a charter that we have to, you know, for public safety, for infrastructure, for roads, sewer, water, things like that. Those are really our mainstays.
Okay.
And so it's not as glamorous, I think, but, you know, we're not building cruise missiles or anything here. So it's kind of just mundane, everyday stuff. But you touched on a lot of really important points with regard to beautification and improving the community, making Middleville awesome. I love that line.
Okay.
It is, it's certainly well within the commission of the board to help guide how we spend taxpayer dollars on important things like, you know, placemaking and third spaces and things like that. So we have a lot of interesting topics that rise to the top on occasion.
Okay.
A lot of it is reactionary.
Yeah.
Just simply because roads go bad, sewers go bad. You know, that tends to monopolize a lot of our mid and long-term goals, but in the short term, for sure, there's a lot of room for creativity.
Okay. Well, thank you guys.
Absolutely. Thanks.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yep.
Hold your voice.
They are, one just turned 11, 9, 7, and a 4.
Oh, we're all basketball players, right?
Right now, they're all into baseball, and I just signed up 3 of them for the TK baseball, and it's like, oh my gosh, you know, there's 3 fields they gotta go to. They're all in different areas, so I'm gonna have to like get grandparents in and kind of wrangle them up. But
Well, if you get them into wrestling, they can all wrestle at the same time.
yeah, actually, a couple of years, the older 2 were wrestling. Thank you guys. Have a good night.
Appreciate it. Have a great night.
I bet they all play first base.
For sure. Oh, that's great.
We're ready to run. I think, unless anybody else is. Yep. Welcome, Pat. Craig Solstenberg, I'm the village manager. We got all of your information. Council has all of your information and everything, so I'll just kind of moderate and ask questions.
Okay,
We'll open up to the council and then we'll go from there.
perfect.
So why don't you tell us about yourself and why you want to serve on the village council? And
I,
then address your answers to
okay,
Yeah,
that's,
yep.
my name's Pat Hilton. I've, lived in Middleville for 20 years. I've, been married for 28 years. I've got, 5 daughters, all of which have, 3 of which have graduated from Thornac Kellogg, a 4th that will graduate this year, and, our 5th is a freshman. So I love this community. It's, where I want, to grow, to continue to raise my children and hopefully serve the community as best I can.
What relevant community involvement or leadership experience best prepared you to serve on the council?
I think leadership experience, obviously work is, by most, the greatest amount of leadership experience I have. I'm currently the chief operating officer for the restaurant company, Restaurant Partners Management. We own Beltline Bar, a lot of the restaurants in Grand Rapids, 6 of them up in Traverse City, 2 resorts. I've been a CEO, for a few years. So obviously leadership, I've had the opportunity to do that. I love serving as a leader. I think one of the skills I've gained with wisdom is my ability to listen to all different perspectives before I make a decision. Do whatever research I can internally, but don't come to a conclusion until I've talked to people that are either experts in a certain area, look for opposing positions where I might be leaning, so I can understand if we make this decision, what are the unintended consequences of that, and try to gather as much of that as I can. And then at that point, make the decision that I feel is best with all the information that I have. So I think that would certainly serve in this capacity as well.
All right. In your mind, what would be the top 3 priorities for the village to focus on over the next year or year and a half?
Well, I mean, I think it's the same across the nation, right? Affordable housing in some way, shape, manner, or form needs to happen, not only here, but all across Berry County and across Michigan. I think that's important where we could do that. I think I'd love to see businesses thrive in Middleville. I'm not sure that we have seen enough thrive. We've seen some come and go. We've seen some maybe be attracted and not survive. There's certainly a myriad of reasons why businesses don't survive. Having been in the restaurant industry my entire life, I know restaurants fail more than they succeed. So it's certainly complicated. It's got to have a good business model, but I also think it needs to be supported by whatever local governance you can. And then I think the continued support for Thornapple schools. I think we're going to continue to grow as a community, and the school is certainly needs to be able to handle the growth that Middleville is going to have.
How would you involve the village residents in your decision-making process while representing them?
I think it would be similar to the way I answered before, is looking for people with opposing views. I think, we are entirely too polarized as a country, right? You either in one echo chamber or the other. And I'm thankful that I have a job that requires me to go seek people that disagree with me, disagree with the way I think, challenge the way I think, and I will do the same thing here. I don't want to come into any situation with a preconceived answer to it. I wouldn't want to vote that way. I wouldn't want to come to a conclusion that way. I would want to, like I said earlier, read all of the material I can, ingest it as best I can, and then talk to as many people as I can. Why do you agree with this policy? Why do you not agree with this policy? And again, try to come to the best conclusion I can with all of the information.
Okay. What do you see as the village council's role versus the role of the village manager or other staff?
Well, the village council, I believe, gets to make the voting decisions, right? So they're the ones that seek public opinion, seek the feedback from the community that we serve. Whereas, your job as a manager is to work within the facilities that you're offered by the village council, right? Whether that be from a budgetary standpoint, from a decision-making standpoint, you have to live with the decisions that they vote on and manage from that perspective. And obviously, I think anybody who's employed by the city is, earning a check under those same guidelines, right? There's a principal of the board that can, make whatever decisions they're lawfully allowed to make. And then the people who work for the city have to, work inside of whichever governance they have.
How do you approach budget decisions when resources are limited, and how interesting is a thorough budget review to you?
So I have to live inside of budgets every day of my life. And unfortunately, the tough budget decisions are only tough when you choose not to make them, right? I think you have to make wise decisions. And at some point, you have to either raise income or lower expenses, right? Don't learn this from our federal government. They haven't figured that out yet. But you right, it's either an income problem or an outgo problem. And if your income is capped by whatever tax revenue you're going to get or whatever other revenues there are, and the outgo is too much, you have to make cuts. And I think those cuts need to be made with people in mind, what the impacts of those decisions are, but they have to be made. And they have to be made in a way that is fair to as many people as possible. And you can never expect when you're cutting something, whether it be hours in a restaurant where you only have a certain amount of hours to operate that restaurant, somebody's going to get paid less at some particular point because there are going to be less hours available. That decision always has to be made or you fail. So to answer your second part of the question, I'm a geek when it comes to that stuff. I'm a numbers geek, and I love diving into that thing. And I think it's a puzzle when there is not enough money or too much expenditures and not enough money. It's a great puzzle to try to solve.
If someone came to you with a proposal to build a new piece of public infrastructure like road, water tower, well, something like that, how would you evaluate whether the project was worth implementing or not?
I think it would be, how does that affect the people that are around it, right? Whenever you're building something, there's going to be a positive, hopefully you're building it because there's going to be some positive outcome that's necessary, but there's also probably some people that are getting involved, whether it's going to be, solar panels near their home that they may not be interested in, or whatever that is. You have to weigh both sides of that. Does the infrastructure project outweigh the citizens that it's supposed to serve? Which side does that equate to? And I think after, again, going back to, not to want to sound like a broken record, but talk to as many people as I possibly can to understand the positives, the negatives, the unintended consequences, if we could figure those out, and then make my decision based on that. But I would never say, ooh, that sounds like a great idea, you've got my support, before trying to talk to as many people as I can to understand what's intended and what are any unintended consequences that may come from that.
Sure. This role requires preparation time and evening meetings. What does your availability look like, and how would you prepare for meetings?
I'm available in the evening. I work in Grand Rapids. I typically, work from 7 a.m. to 5 or 6 p.m. depending on how the day goes. So I'll always have time to get here for the meetings. And the other side is I control my schedule, right? So if there's something that has to happen, I have complete control over when I work, where I go, what I do. So I don't think that part will be a problem. And as far as preparing, it'll be the same way I prepare for board meetings at the restaurant company, team meetings at a restaurant company, is understand what it is that we want to discuss, become as great a subject matter expert as I possibly can, but also recognize where I may not understand some things, and hopefully lean on some folks that may know a lot more than me about it so that I can understand it better. And then again, talk to anybody I can in the public to say what they may think on it or what their opinions might be.
Describe how you handle conflict, public criticism, or emotionally charged meetings. And how would you respond if you saw a negative comment about you on Facebook or other social media platforms?
Yep. Okay. That's a lot, right? So
Sure.
I've had to make decisions probably for the last 15 years inside of the companies I've worked for that weren't always popular with the people that had to deal with the consequences of it. There were always rumblings. People are always upset. And I just explain my position. And I am a very even-tempered person. I learned years ago that emotional intelligence is just as important as your EQ is just as important as your IQ. Your ability to understand what you say, the manner in which you say, the manner in which you accept criticism is always important, because my job in my current role is to lower the temperature of any situation, right? I've got to deal with conflict between a general manager and an assistant manager, a district manager and another peer. I'm always dealing with those kinds of conflicts, and my responsibility is to listen and then to lower the temperature. As far as, social media, I have social media for one really main purpose, and that's to spy on all my daughters. That's number one. The second primary purpose is now I have 2 married daughters and 1 in college, and I want to know what my grandbabies are up to. So I get to watch that. If I post something on social media, it's probably a picture of my daughters competing somewhere, my granddaughters doing something silly, or the occasional sharing of scripture on social media. But I'm sure there's people out there that have trashed me in all the beliefs that I may have that are disagreeable, but it doesn't bother me. I'm used to it. I've had 5 daughters slinging arrows at me for 28 years, so I can handle some criticism.
Sure. If the village received a $1 million grant to be used for anything the council chose, what would you propose they use the money for?
See, I hope this isn't a cop-out answer, but I wouldn't want to answer that question without understanding a whole lot more about what the needs are, and really weighing as many possible options as we can. I was faced with something very similar when I ran a restaurant company in the midst of COVID, and there were all of these grants that were coming through, and as we were applying for them and this money was coming in, and the question was, hey, there's X amount of dollars coming in, what are we going to spend it on? And I'm like, we don't know yet. Like, let's really evaluate what our needs are, what we need this money for, what it's really intended for, even though a lot of that COVID money was used for things that weren't necessarily what they were intended for. But I weighed all of that, and we had really good meetings, really confrontational meetings about what some people believe the money should be spent on versus what others felt. And then we made the right decision for the company at the moment that we got it. But I wouldn't want to have any kind of because the needs when we applied for it were radically different than the needs when we got the money 6 months later. And if we would have made decisions based on what we felt at that moment, we may have missed the opportunity for some of the things we invested in 6 months later, because then it was like, oh my gosh, all this technology that we can have to accept orders online that we didn't have before, that is so different, such a different need for the business than it was pre-COVID. So we needed to make decisions based on when the money was available and then how to effectively spend it after that.
How will you handle a situation when you're on the dissenting side of an item in front of council? So you vote no on something that passes.
Answer any question that anybody has of me of why I made a certain decision. And if they feel I'm wrong, I'll listen, and that'll be it.
Okay. This appointment would expire November of this year. If appointed, you would need to complete. Geez, this is a lot of words in this question. Anyway, if appointed, you would need to complete complete the steps to appear on the ballot, run in the November election, and win to remain in office. Knowing this, does that affect your desire to be appointed?
No, not at all.
Okay. Made that a little more complicated. All right, council, go ahead and ask any additional questions.
This is for me, I'm hoping?
Yes.
Appreciate that.
This position requires quite a bit of training. Start with the open meetings. I don't know if you're familiar with the thing. Talk about budget. There's different trainings you can take that help you understand the budget did me. You might have to serve on a committee. That committee could be the zoning board of appeals, planning commission, or whatever. There's training that goes with that also. Would you be 1 available and 2 willing to take that? Some of it can be online, some of this in person?
Sure, available, absolutely. I think it'd be silly for me to think that I could join a board and just like figure this out or just fly by the seat of my pants, right? Certainly I'd make myself available. I'm certainly willing and make myself available. I'm also like, I'm autodidact by nature, right? I just love to learn on my own or learn by reading or attending seminars or whatever. So it would be really kind of feed my natural want for extra knowledge. But although, the older I get, the hard drive is full. So every time I put something in, I have to delete something out. And that's why, for some reason, I can remember my phone number when I was 6, but I can't remember somebody's name that I met 3 hours ago.
I can relate to that.
As a council member, you may be appointed to one or many committees or ad hoc committees. A lot of those require at least a couple meetings a month, one or a couple meetings a month, depending on what's going on. And also they require a lot of volunteering. For example, the PRC rec plan is due this year. There was a lot of volunteering involved. So what's your desire to meet those needs, as well as attend any additional meetings?
Yeah, the attending additional meetings, I wouldn't have any problem with it. And I wouldn't sit here if I didn't want to be a part of the community and make a difference in one way, shape, manner, or form. And if that means volunteering, that means more meetings, if that means more education, whatever that looks like, that I showed up here because I wanted to do this.
First of all, Pat, thanks for coming in at night here. I know you've got a long day. Everybody, anytime you sacrifice for something like this, it says a lot about you anyway. But and I apologize for the setup. It's sometimes can be a little intimidating for you, clearly not. So
Appreciate that.
We appreciate your candor and your input. It's been refreshing to say the least. Enjoyed your answers. And I can certainly relate to daughters.
I know you can. Especially cheerleading,
Yes,
right?
indeed. Yes, indeed.
Just had state on Saturday.
So thanks again for coming in here and spending time with us. Just to close out, tell us why we should choose you for village council.
I think if you want somebody who's really willing to listen to all perspectives and you'd be very hard to sway. I'm easily influenced by data, not easily influenced by, is this going to be a popular decision, right? If you're looking for somebody who's gonna, if you make a few phone calls or we can push them into a certain vote, then I am certainly not that person, right? That's not going to be me. I'm going to make decisions based on the data that I have, the information that I have, and as much input from whomever is on this board as I possibly can before I make that decision. And that's why I think you should choose me. Somebody who is willing to listen to all perspectives and make the best choice that they believe at that particular time best fits the village of Middleville.
I don't know if Craig can handle two data nerds. It's gonna be.
I mean, I've had them on this council my whole entire career so far, so.
Pat, thanks. I appreciate you coming in, and we are going to be voting on this tomorrow, so it's a quick turnaround.
Okay.
And you can either watch us online, or I'm sure Craig will give you a shout.
Awesome.
You know.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Can I come up and shake everybody's hand?
Of course.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your time. Appreciate your time. Appreciate your time.
And the mics.
Appreciate your time. I'll steal this water so somebody doesn't accidentally drink it out here. Thank you. Pleasure meeting you. Hey, how are you? Came in hot. Didn't even see you
I'm
there.
going to go use the bathroom real quick. I don't think Sandy's here quite yet, so.
She's not scheduled until 7 or so.
She's what?
She's not scheduled until 7. The next.
I can text her. You want me to? Hey, can you fly down here? Sorry, I gotta get close to it.
There you go. All right. Ms. Getty,
How's it going?
it's good to see you.
I was in meeting purgatory, so I'm like, I'll go down and watch the interviews for the headship.
There you go.
We've had some good interviews so far, so
It's great to see the interest.
it really is. Most applicants I think we've ever had for an appointment. Thank goodness, because we have a lot of openings. But, yeah, it's gonna balance out nicely.
Yeah, I think this is the most applicants we've ever had for.
Easily.
Yeah. Nice thing is, you know, a lot more.
Prepping my dog to have him walk his human for the the trail hike.
Good.
It's gonna be,
The Chief Noonday one?
yeah, that'll be fun. He's an old man, so he'll
Yeah.
appreciate the walk. I don't know how long it's here. I thought I was gonna bow out in the middle of the winter, but my wife pushed me right to the end. My dog is not that way though. He's about the same size as Renee, so when he decides he's done.
I walked the New Middleville section yesterday with my dog, and that was pushing his limits. Because he's an old man too. And it's the first time I didn't see anybody out there.
Yeah,
Usually I pass 3 or 4 or 5 people.
it was busy down here over the weekend. There was a lot of people, not this weekend, the previous weekend. It was nice. It was nice to see everybody.
There's a ton of people out tonight.
Yeah, oh yeah. I love it.
Do you want me to get new, do you want a
Just
new
an
letter
email.
from, just an email from the
Confirming,
chair of each?
yes.
Yes. Okay, good. That's easier.
Or read more.
Shirley, Temple.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
So what's our job tonight? Just to listen or make recommendations for more?
You can deliberate, and then if you wanna come to a consensus, you can do that tonight, just don't make a formal recommendation.
Oh, okay.
Oh, man. 30,000 steps between Friday and Saturday. Drove home, we got home about midnight, Saturday night. Hosted a My Way tournament yesterday. With time change.
How did the kids do at the state?
We had 4 out of the 6 were all state.
That is
Pretty
awesome.
awesome. Yeah.
That is awesome.
One of my 3 girls that I had there placed, and she took 2nd place, and she beat a girl in the semifinals that she had lost to every time she wrestled her in the past 2 years.
So,
So that's pretty sweet.
man, girls are, pretty strong. We went, Christian's nephew was wrestling up at the high school on, Sunday. And he's usually 1st or 2nd in all the tournaments he's done so far this season.
Mhm.
He's about 6, and he got whooped by a girl. I mean,
6, there were a couple
Yeah.
girls that I saw there
they're
tough,
pretty tough.
but the explosion of girls wrestling is amazing.
Yeah.
It's so cool watching that grow.
I think she actually got 1st in that class.
Did she?
Yeah. Yeah, she was a tough girl. We were watching her because we watched, we're sitting up high so we could watch everyone.
Mm-hmm.
She was a tough girl. Mhm.
You were there Sunday then?
Mhm. We were in I don't know which gym.
The little gym?
No, the bigger one.
Oh, the bigger gym.
They had like 7 mats
Mhm.
laid out, yeah. But we didn't get notice until the morning of, that he was gonna be at TK, cause he actually, his brother, they live up in Greenville. So we didn't find out till about 8:45 in the morning, like, hey, we're gonna be at TK. Oh, get dressed real quick and go.
Mhm.
So it was a good one.
Yeah, it was all over the place there, and then I had to go home, I was tired.
Yeah. And then one of Christian's older nephews, he's 16, Omari Lane, he went to Detroit for Thursday, but he won his first match, but lost his last 2. So that disqualified him for the rest of it, so he was out by Friday.
Yeah,
Good for him, I mean, it was cool that he made it to state.
yeah, very cool. What school? East
Lakeview,
Lakeview,
yeah,
okay.
he's like he was like one of the top. That I'm not sure, I don't follow that closely, but
Yes,
Hot dogs,
no, I don't think so.
aluminum foil.
Oh, no, that's for my dues. The hot dogs one is coming from DEA, if it comes, but that's not my decision to make.
Right.
Is that why
I just work here.
is that why I got a phone call at 9 o'clock that night?
Yep.
I seem to get phone calls at odd hours from that person. So, Sunday mornings, Monday
Wasn't even in a
nights.
meeting. Didn't even make the meeting. So you obviously found out. My, how word travels fast in our small community.
I saw Sandy walking out.
Did you? Okay. Good. Well, we can get started early too then.
Yeah, I texted her.
Did
Right
you?
along.
She said she had something going on that she could go into that time. Or early, I should say. Hi, Sandy. You can have a seat if you like. Yeah, right in front of God and everybody.
Okay. Hello.
Just want to make it clear, we're solidly everybody. Not.
Right.
All right, you're here a little early, which is good because we can get started a little early. So welcome, Sandy.
Thank you.
Why don't you tell us about yourself and why you want to serve on the village council? And everybody's received your application and then also a letter of interest, so.
Okay. Do I need to step into that?
Preferred.
Okay.
You're being live streamed.
Okay. Hi, my name is Sandy Wake, and I've been a resident of the Middleville area my entire life. Moved to the village almost 20 years ago, and I have about 30 years of experience in manufacturing. I was in customer service and marketing and product services, so recalls and lawsuits and things like that. And then after 30 years at Viking, they reorganized and I bought a franchise. And that was 12 years ago. And since then, the franchise has done very well. I'm semi-retired, and so I feel like I've got the time and the expertise now that I could serve on the village council.
What relevant community involvement or leadership experience best prepared you to serve on the council?
Well, I would say, I always feel like business experience translates very well into government. I think you need some of the same expertise. You need to know about budgeting, and you need to know about, the financial part. That's kind of my favorite part. I don't necessarily belong to much in the Middleville area, but I am the treasurer for a nonprofit. That's why I was here a few months ago trying to get a license for gambling or whatever they call it. And I'm sorry. Tell me the question again.
Sure. What relevant community involvement or leadership experience best prepared you to serve on council?
Yeah, and like I said, I don't really have anything in Middleville per se, but I do think I have a lot of experience that would work well in a position like this. I'm used to studying. I have a bachelor's and I have an MBA, and so I know what it is to look at information ahead of time and be prepared for, questioning people that would come before the board.
Sure. In your mind, what would be the top 3 priorities for the village to focus on over the next 12 to 18 months?
I don't really know what you folks have been working on lately. I do know one of the things that when I was here before, and one of the things I noticed when there was an issue with the boil water issue, I felt like communication could be something that could be worked on, because quite frankly, I didn't know I was supposed to boil my water. So even though I looked out on the website and such, I feel like that could be a top priority. I don't really know what else you're working on. I think it's a lovely community. I always have, and that's why I continue to live here. So, I think there's probably things that, need to be looked at. I just don't know what those are right now.
Okay. How would you involve the village residents in your decision-making process while representing them?
I don't know. I don't know. Is there, I don't know that there's a mechanism for that. I guess, I would make sure that maybe on social media that I would post that maybe a village board meeting was coming up, that maybe they should attend, or I've got neighbors in High Ridge Court that probably would like to attend because they usually have an opinion. So, yeah.
Okay. What do you see as the village council's role versus the role of the manager or other staff in the organization?
I think the board directs what the manager does and make sure that we're, as a committee, looking at the things that are important and making those decisions, and then directing, I assume, the tasks and the setting priorities.
Sure. How do you approach budget decisions when resources are limited, and how interesting is thorough budget review to you?
Ooh, I love numbers. I understand the value of spending money, and I also understand the value of making sure that you're spending money on the things that are going to give you the most bang for your buck. And so I would look at it, the same way I would look at my business finances, making sure that we're not skimping where we shouldn't be, but also not spending money that isn't worth spending.
Okay. If someone came to you with a proposal to build a new piece of public infrastructure, like road, water tower, well, or something along those lines, how would you evaluate whether the project was worth implementing or not?
I would say that definitely would be something that would go to the experts that know more about the infrastructure than what I do. I obviously don't know that much about roads or wells. I do know when I was here before, you were talking about wells, and that seemed like something that really needed to be done. So, I think you have to trust the experts in situations like that. I don't think that any one of us, there might be somebody on the board that is an expert in that as well, but I don't know. Is that something you guys do? So.
This role requires preparation time and evening meetings. What does your availability look like, and how will you prepare for meetings?
Well, that's the beauty of it. These positions came up at a nice time because I am semi-retired. So I do have plenty of time. I've got a grown kid. He doesn't take a lot of my time. In fact, I can't get him to call me back at times, but yeah, I have availability. Yeah. Especially on Tuesday nights. Can't do Thursdays. But yeah, that's easy.
Okay. Describe how you handle conflict, public criticism, or emotionally charged meetings, and how would you respond if you saw a negative comment about you on Facebook or another social media platform?
Well, first of all, I would look at it and try to determine if there was any validity in what was being said. I don't tend to respond to things like that unless it's something that I can maybe explain a situation or, we get in our business every once in a while, we'll get a 1-star rating on Google, which, crushes us because we try so hard to always do what's right. But we look at the situation, try to find out what the problem was. And if there's something we need to fix, we would fix it. Or otherwise we would try to, make it more palatable however we could. So I'm not one that would just respond immediately and be all upset. I do tend to think things through. Yeah. Just me.
If the village received a $1 million grant to be used for anything the council chose, what would you propose the money be used for?
I don't know, our roads seem in pretty good shape these days, but I don't travel all the roads.
Depends on
There's some
the
in-
report.
There's some in Grand Rapids that could use some help. Again, I don't know what is being worked on currently. And I think what I would do is I would take a look at the things that are already out there being proposed and see what makes the most sense to give us what we need more in the community.
How would you handle a situation when you're on the dissenting side of an item in front of the council? So you voted the opposite of the way the vote went.
As far as what goes?
So let's say there's a 4-3 vote and you're one of the 3 that voted
Sure.
against it. How would you handle that situation?
I don't know what would need to be handled, I guess. I don't understand that question.
Some people continue to argue about things after the items are settled. Some people.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
No, it is a majority rule, so I would just sort of go on my merry way, I guess, unless I thought at a later date there was something that, maybe something different or something related that made sense that we could talk about. Yeah.
Sure. This appointment would expire, November 2026, so this year. If appointed, you would need to complete steps in order to appear on the ballot or in the November election and when to remain in office. Knowing this, does that affect your desire to be appointed?
No, I love the idea of not campaigning right now. But if I need to, I can. I know somebody that knows the steps.
I guess you do.
Pretty easy.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Okay, all right, that's the last of my questions. I'll turn it over to council.
Craig, our questions that we ask everybody, Craig already pretty well took mine that I had written down. But the one question I've had for everyone, including yourself, will be the training that you should take to go on being a councilor. And a lot of it will be different training on maybe infrastructure or, which I took that training and it really helped me understand budgets and that type of stuff too. So, and you may, the open meetings, how we conducted a meeting and so on, whether we can have a conversation or not with the audience and so on. So would you be willing to put in the time and take the training necessary for it? Some of it is online, some of it's in person.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I love learning about new things. I just always feel like anything you can learn, it makes you a better person, more well-rounded, and even if I only did it until November and then got kicked out of office, I just think that would be really interesting to learn about.
My question is, as a council member, you may be assigned to one or many committees depending on appointments or availability. And some of those committees may require a good amount of volunteering to data collection or things like that. What would be your availability or desire to participate in those things?
Yeah, quite frankly, since I'm semi-retired, I need stuff to do. So I'm always usually depending on what's going on, I'm usually very willing to help with things like that. And I think I'm pretty good at it too.
That's it. Thanks for coming in tonight. It's late. This is the story of our lives. We sometimes we're here depending on the topic and how interesting that topic is, but sometimes we're here far later than this. So we really appreciate you showing an interest and the willingness to serve your community. Anybody that sits in that chair tonight is already head and shoulders above many others in the community, just simply because it's a commitment and it's not easy, but we all seem to make it. So again, just a lot of gratitude. Just appreciate you spending the time here. Just to wrap up, simple question: why should we choose you?
Well, because I have a lot of good experience. I am a lifelong resident, and I would serve you well. I would be prepared. I would investigate what I need to investigate. I would learn what I need to learn. And I think I would do a really good job. I've been very fortunate in my life. I've been able to learn a lot. I've been able to be successful in my business. And I think I would, and I would love to serve with you guys.
Love it. Thanks again.
Okay.
That's it. It's as simple as it gets.
All right. You have a great
Appreciate
time.
it.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
We will be, yep. So this is going to be in front of the board tomorrow.
Okay.
And so if you're either here or watch it online, or if neither of those happen, Craig will certainly be giving you a shout.
Okay.
You know.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Sandy.
All right,
Thank you.
see ya.
Have a great night.
See ya. Mackenzie needs to know
You did,
Yes.
okay.
So that cat's out of the bag.
Okay, yeah, I mean, it's already been a difficult pregnancy, and I'm only in the first term. And with my job and the complexities of that, and then starting a family, and I'm afraid, even though I want to serve, and I want to complete my term, and I want to be a part of this community in this way, it's not a good service to the community for me to hang on to that just because I want it. You know, it needs to be somebody who can actually commit to the time. You know,
As the father of 3 children.
Yeah.
Take care of your
Mhm.
yeah,
absolutely, that's gotta be your first priority.
yeah,
Much as I don't want to see you go.
yeah. I appreciate that, and I'm very excited to be a mom. You know, I've always wanted to be a mom, and it's gonna be a boy. We found out it was gonna be a boy, so we did the genetic testing, and I guess TK is gonna be another football player if it's up to Christian and all. So, and wrestler and everything else, so, you know, but it's gonna be a challenging time, but I'm looking forward to it. And hopefully I can come back to this someday, but in the meantime, I really just gotta focus on my health and, you know, things like that, so. Yeah, and let me tell you, the nausea sucks. Sparkling water has been the best. Best thing, so.
Caffeine for you.
Yeah, well, my OB did it say I could have at least 12 ounces of caffeine a day, which is fine, because, you know, that's all I would drink anyway. So I do that with a little bit of milk and honey, and it's more milk and honey than it is coffee nowadays.
Well, we've got that prepared to amend the agenda tomorrow to
Wonderful.
take care of your stuff and then potentially appoint 3 people.
Yeah, and I'll be here for that.
Yep.
So. Come hell or high water.
Usually it does get better after the first trimester.
I hope so, yeah, I've been fortunate.
I was gonna give a horror story, but I don't
Yeah,
think I want to.
that's why usually. it gets-
Yeah, it's just been like the, you know, that's really been the challenge, not so much full-on morning sickness because it's just nausea, but, I'm 30, I'm about to be 34, you know, already kind of overweight, high blood pressure, so I should take it easy over there. So. Although oddly, my blood pressure has gone down a little bit since being pregnant, so, you know, I hover around the 121 to over 73 now, so.
We're burning right through these, Craig.
Yeah. Really good candidates,
Yeah,
my opinion.
I thought we only had 4, maybe I missed one, I don't remember reading Clifford's.
I believe I sent everybody, all
We did.
You probably did, I just,
Yeah, I got it.
baby brain.
This was, I think personally, probably the strongest number of candidates we've ever had.
And the strongest, like, all of them are great
Yeah.
candidates.
Yeah, it's
You
gonna be a
know.
tough choice.
I was gonna, it's just too bad. I know November has to be an election.
I know, right?
Okay, is
Yeah.
that, if I had sat through that, I don't think it would have changed my mind, but I guess it would have given me more, even to hear these, I don't know, maybe we could print these questions out. to People that, I don't know, just sitting here listening to this, I'm kind of going, I'll be honest, this was not what I was expecting, okay? The same token, just even sitting here now, these people at least have an idea of what you're kind of getting into. I know you can't do a meeting like this and say, well, I'm sorry, you can't run. I mean,
Yeah, you know, when I was thinking on my resignation, that was one of the stronger points for me to resign, is that at least someone could get their feet wet and see if they got their feet wet into the groove of it, then they can run for election and know what they're actually talking about when they could run. You know, either that or they could make up their mind and say, whoa, this is too much for me. But, you know, either way, it would give someone a fair shake to understand what it's actually about.
I think a lot of people aren't aware of how much time it takes.
Yeah,
Could you call Perry Johnson and let
For
him
me,
know that I didn't opt in for anything?
So I don't know, I got it all the same way.
It's about to get sued.
And now you all know approving the bills, that takes a while,
yeah.
but especially when there's a lot of sequel. Lays those little eggs for you here and there.
Yeah.
But
But she's always good about like, if you wanna see individual receipts for things too, so.
yeah, no, I'm okay with it. I had to query about $1.
Yeah.
Like, okay, keeping Steve honest, let's see how that is.
Yeah, it is a job and, you know, like you said, you have to do a lot of discovery ahead of time and that's what that's on a weekend. You know, if you're a working professional,
Oh, yeah.
that's Friday, Saturday and Sunday, cause you get the packet on Thursday, you know, oftentimes later in the afternoon and, you know.
Friday.
Yeah, and if you wait till Monday or Tuesday, you know, I've been guilty of that a couple times, but I read through it, but you're not as well prepared as you'd like to be.
It's tough when you don't have thought on some of the issues, because some of them I have to Google a lot sometimes, because I don't understand. I'm not an infrastructure mogul, but, you know, over the years, you glean what you need to glean, and it's kind of the curse of government in the sense that just about when you get perfect for the role,
You voted off the island.
voted off the island.
Or you get pregnant.
Yeah, or that. But, you know, that is, I mean, it's obviously a challenge that every community faces, but it, you know, in ours, it's typically hard to find people that commit time and more so now than ever. I mean, it's just not 40 years ago or 50 years ago where people seem to kind of stand in line a little bit to, I mean, you could count on an election to be a full docket and with people trying to get into government, and it's a lot. I liken it a lot to law enforcement, where it used to be where you used to have candidates out the wazoo to be a law enforcement officer, but now it's hard to even get people to apply. And I just, I don't know,
I also think we have a generation of folks that were never taught hard work sometimes is the most rewarding work. And so people are shy of hard work, at least a lot of kids in my generation. I feel like I've run into that quite a bit.
I think that's, you know, the other thing is, we've heard tonight from nearly every candidate that they would like to improve our communication. And honestly, I mean, that's like one of the top things we discuss, but I think the problem is that how do you meet a community where they are? Because that's how you have to do it. Facebook isn't always the best option. No one's gonna come down for a city hall community gathering where you just have an open hearing to hear everybody out. Nobody comes to those. I mean, if anybody that sat in this chair tonight who made the comment that communication is difficult, I would listen for hours on any idea that they may have to help improve that, because it is my grand wish. We have signage, we have a website, we have social media, we have minutes, we have YouTube,
It's funny because, you know, the boiler water, you know, I know we're still recording everything.
Well, that was a great example of how bad communication.
Well, we also we did a lot.
It wasn't us.
Right, well, no, that whole thing wasn't us, yes, that whole thing was not us. But like,
It confused people.
it did, like, we delivered a case of water with a letter that stated what the people should do.
The people that affected.
To the people that were affected, including Sandy.
But then there was the mistake. The health department.
Yeah, the health department made a mistake and then the schools.
The school had a comment on it, and that's when things started going south. And it's not, look, whatever, I'm just saying, communication is a complicated
It's very
issue, and I wish there was a thing that we could, other than spending money on an SMS and then texting everybody, but then.
But not everybody has text.
Right.
That's the thing, there's so many people and everybody uses a different form of communication. And if they don't hear it in their form or don't happen to go to it that day.
I personally would like to see us do a mailer newsletter, like the Key does for the school. I'd like to see the village do something like that. At least, it got there. If whether they read it or not, I don't know, but at least the attempt was made, and it came as close as you can get to putting it in their hand, so.
But
We all get our tax bills.
Yeah.
We obviously read those.
But maybe for the cost it would be to do a printout and then a mailer and then everything else, might be worth doing a SMS if that would be a route, just because an SMS would also allow for, broad, like the water issue,
Along with the new website, we're gonna have
Yeah.
some option, although, depending on the number of people that sign up for it, we may only have, the option to send 2 per year.
Something like that.
Yeah.
If you looked at something recently that was
So,
super expensive for just like 2, it's like, good
but
lord.
the Pixelvine update
Yeah,
is gonna allow for 2 in the year. So if we can put almost like a newsletter of information on those 2 emails, then we can get some more.
we need to talk to Perry Johnson and find out what text messaging he's using, because that either that dude has a multi-billion-dollar fund, or he found a free SMS text engine.
This is
Part of
government,
his 4747, I think.
Yeah.
I think he uses government resources to get all those numbers.
Oh, that was on.
For envelopes.
It'll still look after
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I wondered last time.
Yeah,
And I-
that's true. I didn't hear very well.
I would like to, like with the training thing, is I started at Main Street training thing. I didn't know it was gonna take half my life to do that.
It is like 9 hours.
Yeah, it's forever.
It's huge.
I had to break it up. What?
Yeah, I paused mine in the middle of the.
Oh, yeah.
Just-
It was just one page after another.
Well, and a lot of it kind of gets down to, no offense to anybody, but, okay, give me some technical stuff, something that's got some bite in it, talk about building something or whatever, but
Right.
pie charts and stuff, well, give
A
me.
lot of it was volunteerism.
Yeah.
I mean, I could tell you like the crux of that was how to bring volunteers in on it, because every one of those successful communities had a huge volunteer base.
Mhm.
And they were all on board.
Yeah.
I mean, there was no, like, we spent $400,000 on a community, project, like street beautification, put islands and sprinkling and all that stuff, and create actual crosswalks that stop traffic and things like that. I mean, it's gotta be, it's not just what we spend on the lights and the cement, it's also what happens afterwards. Cause I've been in a lot of meetings, it's like, I love all these islands that you wanna put into the road. I think they're really beautiful. Except, drive through Compton sometime. I have, and there's a lot of islands in the middle of the road, and they're all dirt,
Mhm.
and they're all terrible, and they weren't kept up because that's the first thing that gets cut.
And Compton doesn't have snow, so then you try to run snow plows down the middle,
Right.
and you got islands in the middle of them.
So I'm just saying, like,
Tried.
I'm just saying, like, when a community goes downhill, financially, the first thing that goes are these beautification efforts, and it's not to say that Middleville will be in that place, because I feel like it's far from that, but But those are the small things, you know, I love what it would do for our image. I'm scared for what it will do if we don't have a base of people. And there's not enough data to suggest either way, to say that we have a pool of people that are willing to just be all in on that, because those things require people. And,
you know, we talk about different things to do with the sidewalks and that type of stuff, but it still gets, this way we're going uphill and this way we're going downhill. You can't have outside tables and stuff, there's no way to level them, you know, and things like that. Without building an apron or something for them to sit on, you know.
Yeah.
Do a thing.
I'll bet there's a vendor out there that would triple charge us for those tables.
There's. Come on down to Steve's welding shop, we'll fix something up.
10,000 a table.
Speaking of population, how is that, mid-villa filling up?
I think it's full,
Is it really?
yes.
Okay.
He said he's gonna have, I think he almost has every building. I think he's still working on one.
He's got them occupied, but you know, not, everybody's not all in them yet.
Yeah, he's got
They're
them
close.
accounted.
They're accounted for.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, he said he
He filled that thing out
right away. As
fast.
soon as the buildings were full, people were moving in.
Yep.
Or, built, they were.
Yep.
I'd be curious to know what kind of waiting lists will generate from that, you know, because I've already talking to people and everything else, they're like, you know, there's not much,
Mhm.
you know. And Middleville's growing and businesses in your area are filling in and.
I hope we can do another project like that, because that was one of the strongest projects.
An award-winning project, as a matter of fact.
Mhm.
Has anybody here ever been through the Titan Walks in Hastings?
Are
No.
those square-looking apartments that are?
They are,
Yeah.
I've not.
I took a spin through there last fall. They have 3-bedroom townhouse, 2-bedroom apartment, 1-bedroom apartment. It's a nice building. They have a community room, you can have your family, close the door, you know, all that type of stuff. A 3-bedroom townhouse, 2-bathroom, washer, dryer, the whole 9 yards. About $2,000 a month.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
Wow.
For 3-bedroom?
I don't know if
I
that's
would like
too
to,
bad.
I would like to see us have underground parking. You can rent a parking
Mhm.
spot
Mhm.
for $30, underground parking. The elevator takes you down and you gotta open the big door and drive up. But that's kind of what I'd like to see come into here.
Well, you know what's sad though, is the street, so because we have more rentals popping up, especially with that Allen Edwin development potential project,
Mhm.
the street behind me, which is Run Street off the town center, I guess the county rezoned that. And they're no longer allowed to have rentals on that street, is what some of my neighbors have been telling me. So they got a letter saying from the rental company, sorry, per municipal, whatever. I didn't see the letter, I'm just paraphrasing, that we can no longer maintain this property as rentals, and we have to sell these out for ownership. And so, you know, those are, I mean, like for large family, those condos is kind of in the middle of the road where you can't do a full house, but you can't do an apartment because it's too small, and there's 8 rentals you can't rent out to families.
You could, and Frank, come on,
Like, for example, with this Titan,
come on, have a seat.
There's people.
Oh, yeah.
My wife and I, they would like to sell our place, but we don't want to mow an acre of grass. Or all that type of stuff. And go to something like that. Then Baldry's house becomes for sale. And then you have the next older couple, their house would come for sale and that type of stuff. And because that's where older folks want to go. They don't want to take on more, they want to take on less, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's something that ought to be considered.
Welcome, Cliff.
Hey, Cliff.
My name is Craig Solstenberg, I'm the village manager, and I'll be doing moderating tonight, and then let the council ask some additional questions, and we'll kind of go from there, so. So why don't you tell us about yourself, why you want to serve on the village council?
Yeah, sure. So I graduated from TK in 2005. Actually got the National Medal of Merit when I was at TK. And then later I went to Western and I graduated from Western. Originally I was going to go into education. My mother was well, she's retired now, but she was a retired teacher in Hastings. My dad was a teacher in Caledonia, so we went to Middleville. I never really thought about city council, to be honest with you. I bought this house on West Main, and I talked to Mr. Hamilton. He used to own that house, and through talking with him, he actually told me he was going to be stepping down. And then that's when I just I guess, felt called to put my name forward and see if I can serve my community that way, since I've got a family of 5 kids, and so to me, what happens here is important and matters to me. So.
Okay. What relevant community involvement or leadership experience best prepared you to serve on the council?
I would say in my professional career, at one point I was managing half of our business. I had a few people under me that I would manage. I'm used to working in teams, used to working solo or in teams, really. I would say probably management experience at work is probably was best for that.
Okay. In your mind, what would be the top 3 priorities for the village to focus on over the next 12 to 18 months?
That's an interesting question. I'll be honest with you, I haven't thought that far ahead. Being civically involved is a newer thing to me, so I'm not sure exactly what to expect as far as that goes. As far as, I'm not coming in with an agenda to hey, we got to change this, this, and this. More to kind of get my ropes, kind of see the people I've served before, and kind of see how things go and go from there. So I don't really have an agenda of things I want to get done, I suppose.
Okay. How would you involve the village residents in your decision-making process while representing them?
For me, my biggest thing would probably be talking to people. I'm in sales at work. I like talking. So I don't have a problem talking to anybody in the village. There's a lot of community events that go on. I would say the best thing for me, at least in my mind, would be to talk to people and see what's on their mind, what's concerning them, what's important to them. Because everybody has different opinions, right? Some people it's really important, some people they don't care, right? So I would say probably talk to people and ask them what's important to them.
Okay. What do you see as the village council's role versus the role of the staff or of the village manager?
I'm not sure how to answer that question. Like I said, civic engagement is a newer thing to me, and I'm not sure on how those different roles are kind of split, to be honest.
Okay. All right.
Wish I could give you a better answer, but
That's okay. No.
There's no wrong answer.
There's no wrong answers, exactly. How do you approach budget decisions when resources are limited, and how interesting is a thorough budget review to you?
Well, I'll start by answering your second question. Budget is not interesting, in my opinion, but it's a necessity, right? So, in my experience at work, what I've tended to do with people who don't have money, I deal with a lot of government agencies, a lot of police, fire, and EMS, and a lot of times money's tight, right? So there's grants, there's local businesses can donate money. There's all kinds of funding sources. If I had a nickel for every time I heard I don't have the money for it, but I want to buy it happens all the time. So I'm used to dealing with kind of finding money, if that makes sense, in various ways. Like I said, community members, sometimes you can ask for donations from businesses, local businesses, things like that. And grants would be the other one. There's a lot of grants that, quite frankly, I see grants all the time at work, and a lot of people don't take advantage of them. Like for example, there's a USDA grant. A city like or a village like Middleville could easily take care of that because we have so few residents, right? It's only meant for people who have a lower amount of residents. Now there's really certain things you can spend it on, but there's all kinds of sources like that. That's probably where I would look.
If somebody came to you with a proposal to build a new piece of public infrastructure like a road, water tower, well, library, how would you evaluate whether a project was worth implementing or not?
Well, to me, being a Middleville resident, I think the most important thing, right, is what impact does it have on our community, right? Is it gonna benefit our community, or is this something that's just gonna cost the taxpayers money, right? Nobody wants to see their money wasted. So if I was looking at a project like that, it's kind of almost an immeasurable, right? But you're trying to gauge what is the impact on your community, your society, what are you doing to better, the life around them? It's a very hard thing to measure. That's a tough question. Yeah, I'm not sure how I would measure it, but that would be the goal.
This role requires preparation time and evening meetings. What does your availability look like, and how will you prepare for meetings?
So the preparation for meetings I'm not concerned about that. I suppose I did have to work all the time, right? We have meetings with big boards of people. Sometimes it's one-on-one, so it's all up to the gamut. We have to prepare for that before you go into a meeting. So for me, the preparation part, I'm not too worried about. That's similar to what I do for work every day. As far as the evenings part, that's not a problem. Most of my business at my job is 9 to 5. It's a salary position, so there are sometimes evenings, especially fire board meetings typically start at 7 p.m. But I don't think the timing is as far as that. I don't foresee that being an issue.
Okay. Describe how you handle conflict, public criticism, or emotionally charged meetings, and how would you respond if you saw a negative comment about you on Facebook or another social media platform?
Well, that's a fun question. So I've been in some heated places before with work. I'll just be honest with you, I've been cussed out straight to my face by police and fire. It happens sometimes, right? If we sell out radios, if the radio doesn't work, it's a huge problem. What I tend to do is try and take a step back, I suppose, and think about, like, if I'm in their position, right, how am I gonna feel? If somebody's yelling at me, they're obviously very passionate about it. This is very, very important to them. But what's necessarily important to one person is not necessarily urgent, right? So the biggest thing, in my opinion, would be people like to be heard, right? So the first step is hearing people out. Second step is de-escalation. If somebody writes on me about Facebook, I don't really care. I'll be honest with you. I don't do a whole lot of the Facebook and the TikTok. It's just not my thing. So it wouldn't bother me, to be honest. Probably wouldn't even see it.
Okay. If the village received a $1 million, talk about grants, $1 million grant to be used for anything the council chose, what would you propose the money be used for?
I don't have an answer for you off the bat. It would be something that I think if you have $1 million, I think that takes a lot more planning and thought to go into it than just, I know the hot button topic right now, at least Middleville, is the library, right? But I think I would want to look at what projects are going to benefit everybody, right? Because some people may want a library, but some people may say, I'll never go to the library. It's a waste of my money, right? So it's a balancing act. I don't think I could make a decision like that easily or lightly. It would probably take a lot more planning and figuring out best ways.
Okay. How will you handle the situation when you're on the sending side of an item in front of council? So something is a 4-3 vote, you're on the free side of that. How would you handle that?
We have to vote again another day, I suppose. I mean, that's the point of voting, right? Is you're not always going to win. It's not the way it works. If everybody was in agreement, right, then that means there's no problems, or there's a lot of problems is more likely. So that doesn't bother me if I lose a vote.
Okay. This appointment expires on November 20, 2026. If appointed, you would need to complete steps to appear on ballot, run in November, and win to remain in office. So knowing this, does that affect your decision to want to be appointed?
No, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay. All right. Well, turn over to council. So what other questions there?
You're fine? I'm fine. I got the usual. I've asked this question of everybody.
Okay.
Especially when you come in new. There's a lot of rules on how you conduct a meeting and so on. There'll be terms that you won't have any idea what anybody's talking about. The AOC and the FPD and all that type of stuff, and you're going, I have no idea what they're talking about. But my point is, there's training you should take that go along with this job, that'll help you in that respect. Would you have the time and be available to do that?
Yeah.
Well, some online, some in person.
Yeah.
It will require some time to put into it.
Yeah, that sounds fun. And as far as the acronyms, we use acronyms all the time. So I'm not worried about that. I got a head full of acronyms. We deal with government a lot.
So my question is, as a council member, you may be appointed to one or many committees or ad hoc committees, which would require additional meetings and a need for volunteering for things. For example, TAPRC, we did our rec plan this year, and there's quite a bit of community input, volunteering we had to put in. What would be your availability or desire to do something like that?
It would depend on the timing, right? So if it's during the day, that's when it's trickiest for me, because that's when I'm oftentimes at meetings with customers. But evenings are easy for me, weekends are easy for me. I don't typically work after like one weekend a month, or a year, sorry. So I don't foresee it being a problem. In fact, I think my mom just volunteered for the Christmas, they did a Christmas one last year and they didn't have enough people, so she actually volunteered to do it next year. So yeah, I have no problem volunteering. And I have kids, they can volunteer too.
Well, look, first off, thanks for coming in at night. Everybody's had a long day at this point, so appreciate you carving out the time. We will be deliberating on this and making a decision tomorrow. Welcome to watch it on the video or show up here.
I actually plan to show up. My son goes to Wayland and he's got to come to a public meeting, so I'm like, we'll just go.
You'll know very quickly as to whether, who we choose. With that, it's obviously as part and parcel to volunteering time and just showing interest in serving your community is awesome. Appreciate you doing that. Last question is super easy. Just tell us why we should choose you for village council.
Okay. For me, I've lived here all my life. I grew up on Robin Road. Well, it's technically street. We always called it Robin Road. Yeah, this is where I grew up. My parents technically live in Hastings, still Middleville schools, right? This is just where I've always been. My wife's not from this area. So what I always tell her is the only thing that matters in Middleville is schools and farms, right? Not that that's the only thing that matters, but those are the things that are super important, right? Education for the kids, and it's a farming community, right? There are lots of other things that are important. I don't mean to make it sound like that, but I think that, all right, I'm gonna get on my soapbox a little bit. The world I see around me just changes so drastically, and there's so much online and all this stuff. It's part of the reason I don't do it, because it's just not for me. And Middleville to me is kind of like this last almost gem that's still kind of the way it was almost. I mean, things have changed, right? The school's got some additions. We have a new traffic light, right? It's different than when I was a kid, but it's still the same in the same way, if that makes sense. There's a special character, I think, to Middleville that other places just don't have. So for me, that's why it's important.
Excellent. Good answer. Well, that will do it. That's it. Try not to make it too intimidating and having this set up here, but it is definitely great to hear your story, and we appreciate your time this evening. So with that, we're all set.
All right.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Cliff.
Appreciate your time. Good to meet you.
Yeah.
Thanks. Thank you, man. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for coming. I appreciate it. Thanks.
Thanks.
I mean, I think after I sneeze.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Goodness sakes. I mean, we can certainly spend, I think, a few minutes deliberating on the content, we obviously can't make a decision tonight, but, just wouldn't mind hearing everybody's thoughts. Thanks.
I personally graded on a scale of 1 to 5. I gave one individual a 4, a 3 to 4, a 4 to 5, 3 to 4, 3 to 4. Can we say the names to you?
I think what we'll do is, I think the safest bet would be to just capture all of our final thoughts, make sure that Craig has them, and then we can review, you know, I can review.
You can do it however you want. If you want to deliberate tonight and have, you know, a consensus on something tonight, you can. If you want to wait until tomorrow to do deliberation, however you want to do it.
I think as far away from an official decision tonight, we stay, you know, far away from that, but I think hearing everybody's thoughts, it might make sense, to just go round robin and just get everybody's choice. I mean, we just don't have a lot of time, so it's like.
That's why I guess I was starting off.
Yeah, so I think the best answer would be,
They were all pretty good candidates.
it's gonna be tough, yeah, for sure. I would say if you have a top 3 list,
My top 3 would be Susan Shannon. My top one would be Pat Hilton. And then I'm kind of torn between Sandra Wake and Nick Arndt. Probably of the 2 I would go with, I think, Sandra Wake.
go ahead, Matt.
My top 3 would be Sandy Wake, just because I do work with her, and as polite as she is, she's also a very shrewd business person, and she's one to get the job done. So even though she's very polite and she's always very polite, don't take it the wrong way, but I think she just has a moxie that she doesn't show off enough. I mean, she took Care Patrol of Western Michigan and made it what it is today from just a small little franchise here. So, so that's why she would be a strong, like my top candidate, and then Pat Hilton, following behind her. Man, I gotta say I'm torn between Nick and Susan, but if I had to put myself against it, I'd say Susan, just because she's followed along and she seems knowledgeable comparatively to the workings of what's going on, and seems like she doesn't have a problem speaking her mind.
Because for me too, it's like any of us here really know what the heck we were getting into when we came. They don't either.
No.
You know, but how they reacted to the questions and how they answered the question. To me, they answered the questions honestly. When they didn't know, they said, I don't know, but you know what, I find out, which to me is important. And they looked you right in the eye and gave you the answer. And for that was more of the thing, deciding factors for me.
John, what do you think?
Well, I think, the top is Pat. I think, to be honest with you, I think he'll keep us on our toes. If 60% of what he said tonight, I don't think was for show. I don't think the right word is for show. But at the same time, I think he would definitely keep, it's kind of what we need, I think. It would be a good fit. He's top. And then Sandra, I really liked a lot. And Nicholas, just with his experience, and years with Ed Myers, and so yeah, there's a lot of good I don't think there are any that really didn't like, but yeah, he said pick 3, so.
I mean, it's table stakes. Pat has pretty strong polish for sure. I think, he's a strong personality, and I'm not necessarily saying that's a negative. He's a very strong personality, and I appreciate that. And I think to your point, John, we need somebody with conviction to certainly do that. But I think even though he has a strong personality, he's also thoughtful and presses in when people don't agree with him. And I think that's also very important, because I think I've made plenty of decisions personally after listening to somebody who had an opposite opinion of me, of my opinion, and honestly appreciate that, and have made and changed my mind because of it. Because I don't need to be right about everything, and I feel like I get a good strong sense that he's very similar in that regard. So, and he's, you know, I'm very much data driven. I think, you know, and I poke fun at Craig about that a lot, but we definitely, you know, data is the new oil, and, you know, to run a village as it grows and as it continues to evolve, I feel like having a strong sense of the why something is the way that it is. It doesn't, you know, the what is simple. You know, a leaf blower or a leaf back truck is easy. We need it because that's what we've had, and we're replacing it. I think if I had a time machine and could sit in front of everybody and could build consensus on, but do we? Is it why is it? What are the numbers important? The numbers are important. The reason why we need it today instead of a year from now, et cetera, et cetera. And I feel like Pat's gonna bring that to the table. I mean, Sandy is also very astute, and I feel like she had the right answers and it's okay to, I think it makes a lot of sense when someone bows out, doesn't want to answer a question or says, I don't know, I can't speak on that. I appreciate that. I feel like that's the ultimate sense of honesty. And I think that when you're sitting in front of a bunch of people who are just starting to get the swing of it, I think that's a really honest and vulnerable answer, which is also why I chose Cliff, because I feel like you don't need to know everything to sit in a seat here. You have to know how to represent people and have a perspective that I feel when you don't know and you're honest with that, you'll find the answers as needed. And the best place to find the answers are the people that you live near and become neighborly and have that communication. So I appreciated that, Cliff's candor and honesty as well. I'm gonna say, for those that I didn't choose, I felt aloof isn't the right word, but I also think that you have to be intentional about volunteering like this, and I just felt like Cliff's answers were very honest and very intentional, and I think he wants to participate, so that's why I chose him. But I also have the same quandary that I think a lot of us have, and that is that we had people that were similar. Yeah. We had probably, you know, got to lean one way or the other, but you know, and I guess if I were to pick an alternate, I would have probably chosen Nick as my alternate. And it may not be that. It may not be a bad idea for us to maybe throw an alternate on the docket, because you never know when we may need to call them. So
Bishop is in obviously gonna weigh in tomorrow also, and then, none of them except for Susan, just, this is information, and that's all it is information, but, she checked off the other, committees she'd be willing to serve on, and she was the only one that did that, so.
Yeah.
The other ones only checked off councils.
That's why I added it to the question list.
I just wonder, my one comment is that, is Pat overqualified with the board? I know he's volunteering, okay, but I mean, I don't know, just throw it out there, I mean,
Pat strikes me as a man that's not gonna put his name on something without following through. And that's what he strikes me as. You know, same thing with Sandy, the same thing with all of them really, actually, so, but, I feel that if, you know, as a COO of a large company, if he said he's gonna do something, he's gonna do it.
and I appreciate everybody thought about the question, sometimes instead of knee jerking, you know, and that $1 million question is hard,
Mm-hmm.
but, you know.
I think my favorite answer is, I don't know, whatever best, I think that was my favorite answer.
I like that too.
Cause it's
But,
hard,
sorry, I shouldn't be.
He walks in here and calls us, what's 3 things we need to change?
Yeah.
Yeah, how long's a piece of string? I don't know.
yeah.
You know, let's say I drove down this road today, it was full of bottles and, you know, and so on. I come up with 3 things, but I'm not sure that's what you guys, you know,
Mm-hmm.
what are we talking about here? But I think with regards to Pat, I think there was a realization that hits him that would slow him down a little bit.
Oh, I agree.
And for the good, you know,
It took me a few years to slow down from.
yeah. And I realized he run restaurants and all that type of thing. I got that. But now we gotta talk about sewer and water and, road repair and all kinds of stuff that he hasn't touched his fingers before.
Right.
None of us. you know.
Right.
And so there's a heck of a learning, but I love his energy and I like his positivity and I think his willingness to learn what he's got to learn.
You know what, I found interesting, was everyone, well, a couple of them had mentioned budget cuts and stuff.
Yeah,
And it, to me, it's funny that they go straight to that, thinking that that's needed, but we're actually in a very good financial situation.
I almost wanted to reach in and get my copy of the budget. and say, this is what it is.
This
Yeah.
is really what it is, yeah.
Yeah.
And by the way, a lot of that is because we show restraint. And that is, I think, the single best attribute of the board that I've experienced since I started here is showing restraint and not rubber stamping every decision that comes across the table. Just because it's there doesn't mean it's a yes. And yes, I know that Craig's gonna give you a dirty look, or JD might give you a dirty look if you said no, but the fact remains is that it's our money. And that is something that translates very clearly when you sit on this board, is what is the highest and best use of the resources that we give the village through our taxes, and to learn a good balance. I mean, I spent on that exercise with that document that I shared with everybody, that, I mean, diving into our budget is not a matter of just going in and opening it up, and it's not something that is easy to do. It took me 20 plus hours to do that small little 1-page document, just so that we could have enough data to say, okay, yeah, I see that, you know, we're down on certain funds, and I know that we've had huge road projects the last couple of years. And if we choose, we can bring it back up again and save money if we're not foolish with our funds. And that was something that I learned in that exercise, which was, wow, I had no idea how complicated this is. It's not business, and it doesn't matter how strong. I mean, I'm an officer of every company I've worked for the last 15 years, and multi-billion-dollar companies, and I can tell you, it is nothing like
Which is why Susan's interview struck me as appropriate, just because, again, she's not one to rubber stamp things. She's been in finance, and let me tell you, healthcare, I mean, there's, everything flies at you, and so especially like a big corporation like Mary Free Bed. And even though she may not have the community footwork, that doesn't mean she can't. I mean, I got elected less than a year into living in Middleville. And I had only had a year under my belt less than a year at Carver. So just because she hasn't done it doesn't mean she won't.
Yeah.
And, that's, I mean, Pat and Sandy definitely, I think, hit a lot of both, but Susan, even though she doesn't have that, she has that ability to analyze, to look at a fiscal decision and say, all right, what, is this a need or a want? Is this gonna be beneficial now or later? Is this, she has that decades of experience in that. And, more so than what Nick does and Cliff does. If I were to pick an alternate, go back to that question about alternate, it's hard for me because Nick's bounced around quite a bit in different fields, which may be beneficial, but Clifford has a lifelong TK Middleville roots, and so balancing that and the fact that Cliff actually does work with a form of municipal entities like fire and police and things like that, that might give him a good solid founding, like on our police contract committee and things like that. So, that might be that would be my alternate, weighing between the two.
How would the alternate do that?
I'm just saying, this is probably more for Craig than anybody, and that is, we're putting two people on the board, three people on the board.
Yeah.
We're putting three people on the board, but, we don't, who knows,
It'd be
right?
my communication as, if you get, whoever you choose, when I communicate the decision to them, I say, look, there's always openings that pop up, including sometimes on council,
Yeah.
unexpectedly, so we would encourage you to apply again, or, that sort of thing.
And I think that really is, obviously the public can certainly answer the call, albeit.
Is that he wouldn't, like, he wouldn't just automatically be calling and I have to resign or.
We would ask, he would be a person that we could include, if he wanted to do so, and make sure he's notified.
Okay, so it's not involved till that time.
Right. I'm just saying, it's just nice to be able to leave people with a message that it's like, and look, the way that we all, our feelings about everybody that interviewed today, it's hard. I can tell you there's a three-way tie for me, for sure, but there's only three positions, and as it stands,
Most folks had checked where the village council was number one, but like planning commission 2 and so on, and they, when we were talking about your alternate, but, tell them, there's commissions and stuff that open up.
No, I would definitely do that.
The reason I knocked Nick down, this is what I did in my table yesterday, but he didn't fill out page 2 of the application.
Right.
As the old engineer in me means you're not reading the whole thing.
Right.
And the biggest sin in engineering is you don't read the whole thing. So for that,
Knock him down a point.
I'm sorry, that you said Nick. Was that Nick?
Yeah. Because you go to this application there, page 2, he doesn't have nothing on
I think that's it.
Finance is marked right here.
it. Huh?
Finance is marked under village council. It's just marked with an asterisk, not like a check mark. So he did it technically, you know.
Oh geez, I
technology.
guess I better get bigger bifocals, I guess.
But I think that's the only marking. But it does appear.
He
that
does, okay,
Yeah,
I
he
take
did
it, I
both.
stand corrected. It just, I thought it was just.
Does he get a point back?
I thought it was a piece of dirt or something.
I'd say give him a point back. I mean, I think, I mean, as it stands, we obviously have consensus, or at least the board has consensus, at least on 3 people.
How does it work tomorrow?
Well, that is an interesting question.
You'll have, you should in your packet, for tomorrow, have instructions on two positions, but basically you'll have, appointment for the remainder of Mackenzie's, the appointment for the remainder of, Richard and Tracy, thank you.
But then, we'll debate it and then vote on
Can do one at a time, you can do all
We'll do
at
one at a time.
one at a time and then,
Hopefully, we don't have to debate too much since we're talking now, but we'll see.
no, but then Richard's on here.
I think what will happen is in the order of preference, at least in terms of consensus on the board here, it's 4, 4, 2, 1, 1. So, the top 3, there's consensus on that. So I think what we can do is just vote in order. And then once all 3 positions are filled, we don't need to vote on the rest of them. Makes it easy.
No. I'm gonna throw this question, I don't know if we can even ask this question, but how do we vote for Tracy's term versus the other 2 terms? Because obviously Tracy's term has another 2.5 years versus.
They both have to rerun again.
No, that's not what I mean. I meant in the sense of how do we determine who's gonna get the longer term?
They are all the same.
They're all essentially the same.
Re-elected in November.
They're all re-elected. in
Oh, I
November.
thought Tracy was elected this last term.
She was,
That's the county clerk determined.
Yeah,
That they,
but they still have to rerun again in November.
This coming one?
Yes.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Yeah, it's still the term, you know, there is a longer term and a shorter term. However, for the purpose,
So what would happen to
The state.
Steve's seat then? Because technically, you took.
everybody
his.
here will have to run against.
Yeah.
John.
literally everybody but John.
Ah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Everyone has to run except you.
Oh, no, okay,
because you ran in one 4-year term.
oh, okay.
You could wind up being the head honcho.
All right,
I mean, if anybody runs against me, whoever runs against me,
But they're all gonna be for varying terms, so somebody could, file to run for a 2-year term of trustee, and some could run for a 3-year or a 4-year term.
okay.
There's gonna be,
Also so then her question is,
the public will decide that.
the public,
decide how long that person is taking Tracy.
correct.
Okay.
And it'll,
Well, when you file, you can file for the 2-year term or the 4-year term.
Yeah,
I have
'cause
another option, okay.
that was kind of,
The people that file will have that option.
I wonder how, because Bishop took Mike Lidle's position, but he didn't have to rerun until this last
The bishop got
term.
elected last time.
Yeah, but, okay.
To a new term, so to
Yeah,
speak.
okay.
I guess he doesn't,
He just got,
No, he just got
He was
reelected also,
appointed.
yes.
yeah, for Lidle.
So him and John would be in the same
Right.
position.
Hmm,
yeah,
yeah, very good.
it'll be an interesting fall.
Mhm.
All right, well,
So what's our, we all,
I think I just tallied up everybody's votes. Or consensus, we didn't vote on anything, we're not voting.
my understanding.
But, I mean, those who have the most votes will get appointed.
So on our agenda tomorrow night, those individual names will be listed.
We will list them and appoint them.
Wonderful.
Sure.
It was a fun meeting. I like casual meetings.
I just really want the folks that didn't make it to really know how much we appreciate it and try.
Yep, absolutely. It's nice to have a good batch of quality candidates.
Yeah, they were
This was really, these,
Yeah,
everyone.
other availability on committees right now, so.
And, you know, I can't state enough, you know, the decision to resign was, a big part of that was because the quality and the number of these candidates. You know, otherwise I would have really tried to push through, but I was really impressed with everyone's application.
Well, I'll consider that your final council comment,
Yes.
and then we'll move over to John.
That was, be the first time in this type of meeting, because I didn't know what to expect again, but.
You'll get it.
When he first came, said there was one candidate, and one great, this is weird. Then what does happen? Then do you have a special election in November, or when?
Yes.
Yeah, right now,
Yes, it would be a special.
if there was only one.
No, it'd be a special election, not in November, it'd be short, close
It would be within a month or so.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Then-
Very
And
expensive.
we
Yes.
paid for that, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we're very fortunate.
Okay. Yeah, they're good quality candidates, it's gonna be more, there really was nobody that I say, shoot, I need to show off, or, you know, not at all, so it's gonna be more. Who brings more to the table and, you know, that kind of thing.
I think this is what everybody gets up in the morning for, is to make our system work. And when it doesn't work, you fix it and move on. And yes, there's gonna be people that agree and don't agree, type of thing, but our democracy says the majority rules. And that's the way you have to run. You can try to explain your point of view and the other person's point of view. And sometimes you get swayed one way or the other, and sometimes you don't. But I'm always proud of the way we present ourselves and maintain our. And I hope the village residents, whatever it would take to get them to come through that door and sit in the chairs. And instead of somebody on Facebook saying something, and immediately 85 people jump on and say, yeah, you're right. You know, never let the facts get in the way of a good story, but. And I wish we could get some up close one-on-one. And I know we're not supposed to have conversations, which I hate that, but you should be able to ask a question, you should be able to give them an answer. Or if you don't know, say, I'll get back with you, you know, that I think that's just the biggest.
It's,
trying to figure out the right way to say it. I think that's a horrible way to have to maintain a relationship with the people you live with, you know. You know, I worked in the parts store part-time, people come in, they'll say something, and well, yeah, you know, and to a point, but I'm not gonna sit there and say, no, I'm, the ORV thing, I've had more people, how are you gonna vote on ORV? You'll know when I vote. But, you know, in other instances, occurrences, items, but I enjoy the way we operate. And I'm not trying to poke the stick in somebody's eye about the way it was a couple of years ago. But we are so much more level and factual and not in your face type of thing. For me, we've got nowhere to go but up, you know. And you can look back all you want to, but all you do is see what's behind you. Maybe look forward. And I think this will help a lot by the folks coming up.
I'm gonna keep this brief because I wanna go home. In my roles in my entire career, I've always encouraged smarter people to participate in whatever role that I have. And I hope, and I cross my fingers in every interview that I've ever made, that they're smarter and better at everything. Because I'm a firm believer of surrounding myself with the best possible people that we can find. And today, to have such strong candidates is proof that when you create a safe environment and something where people can critically think without repercussions, I believe that that environment is what will foster even even better talent over the years, and it will only help this community. So I'm excited. I'm excited to bring good people to the seat that they already deserve. The community is in desperate need of good leadership, and I think it's been an honor and very humbling to do so myself. And I am looking forward to see how these new candidates will fit into that mold, and I'm very encouraged, very, very encouraged. So this was a win for Middleville tonight in every way. And I'm very excited about that. I'm very upset about one resignation, but
Me too, I was going to say that.
I feel like, Mac, you've been instrumental in the cornerstone of having a good voice on the council, and you're thoughtful and you dig into the topics and your opinions and your insight, and just having you be on the board and as somebody to collaborate with has been an honor. And I am sad to see you go, but know that it's for the best, and it's certainly the best reason of all. So with that, I just want to give you my heartfelt gratitude and really appreciate what you've done. And you've certainly taught me a thing or two for sure. So I'm always open to learning.
My God, when that bill come in and the tip and all that, you can't believe what I gleaned off of you.
Well, thank
Every
you.
time you start talking, I'm going, yeah, well, let me get a little closer. What'd you say?
So it is, we've done great things. I look forward to doing even better things in the future. And with that, I have nothing else to offer other than I hope everybody has a great evening. And I believe a motion would be in order.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion with support to adjourn. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Meeting adjourned.
Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Greg. Thanks, Heather.
Thank you.
Listen, if y'all make me cry tomorrow, I have some words. I almost did.
I know, I was gonna say.